We'll have another track from our current featured album in around about an hour's time. That's Lionel Richie's album, Tuskegee. But now, we said earlier on that we're going to be joined online by another champion of the community. And I didn't lie to you, because joining us now via Skype, we're going to be talking to Sabrina. Very good afternoon to you, Sabrina.
Hi, Danny. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, that's okay. All the technology works. You know, it's I've got all sorts of like fingers and toes and things crossed here, making sure we can hear you through this, but coming through loud and clear.
Oh, right. I can hear you too, so hopefully it's all working.
Brilliant. Now, we're going to be talking this afternoon. I should say, by way of introduction, you're from Welwyn Garden City, and you are involved with something that I have never heard of before, so I want you to tell me a bit more about this. But it's something called Live Below the Line.
Yeah, basically I'm volunteering at an organisation called Results UK, and one of the campaigns that we're working on is, like you said, Live Below the Line. And it challenges normal people to live on £1 a day for 5 days on their food, to sort of get a glimpse of what it's like to live in extreme poverty. Because at the moment in the world, 1.4 billion people are living on less than £1 a day. So we're sort of challenging people to sort of take part in this campaign as a way sort of experiencing empathy, because I think we're all very knowledgeable about poverty. We recognise it when we see it, and we feel bad for people who are suffering at the hands of it. But the best way, I think, to make a difference to global poverty issues is to have a real good understanding of it, and that's why Live Below the Line was created, so we can gain an emotional attachment to the issue.
I know that sometimes talking with young people in my past life, I was involved in youth work, and one of the things that I remember, we used to raise money with the 24-hour famine, and I remember some of our young people saying that they would never again use the phrase "oh, I'm starving," because they realised that they're never starving. They're very fortunate. We all live in relative affluence in this country, and a phrase like that, you know, could be quite offensive to somebody who doesn't know where the next meal's coming from.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, we're never really going to understand what it's like to actually experience poverty, but by doing this challenge, it sort of just gives us a glimpse at it, because I just did the challenge myself last week. I did the £1 a day for 5 days on my food and drink, and it is hard. It really is, but I'm so glad that I did it. I think it's made me think about, it's changed my view, the way that I think about food, and like you said, I've never ever used the phrase "I'm starving" again.
Because yes, it suddenly makes you realise, in fact, there are some people to whom that they could genuinely use that phrase, and the chances are they probably don't moan about it as much as we do. Yeah,
and I mean, while we're doing this challenge, is like £1 a day for your food and drink, the reality is that millions, really 1.4 billion people have £1 a day or less to live on, not just for their food, but for their children's education, their hospital fees, their transport, their rent. And one common misconception that I hear from a lot of people is that, oh, well, okay, well, £1 a day, that might not be much here, but surely that buys you a lot in developing countries. And the problem is that that's a common misconception, because they worked out with the parity of purchasing power, and unfortunately the figure actually means that those who live in extreme poverty are living on a daily amount that's equivalent to £1 a day of what you'd be able to buy in the UK. So,
right, yeah. Okay, so it's been sort of adjusted to, so what we could buy for £1 a day is effectively what some of these people have to budget on all the time.
Yeah, and for most of these people, £1 a day is basically enough to buy 2 basic meals, which leaves only around 5p left over for everything else that they have to pay for and fund. So you can understand why so many people are starving when they've got so many things that they need to prioritise with such little money.
Okay. Now, this particular initiative, then, there's a few big partners behind this as well, aren't there, that people would have heard of?
There's about over 20 different organisations involved, but 6 major partners. Live Below the Line is actually organised by the Global Poverty Project, but there's other organisations and charities involved. Results UK, the one that I'm working for and fundraising for, is involved. Restless Development, Christian Aid, Save the Children. There's so many people that have got together behind this because it's such an amazing campaign. And one thing that really sort of struck me is how all these different organisations with, I guess, an organisation is still a business, so there's always still that competition, but how everyone sort of put that competitiveness aside and was just working together because they really honestly believe in this campaign. They were sharing their ideas. They're just thinking, how can we raise the most awareness and the most money for this?
Well, sometimes I think an initiative and an idea, it develops a life of its own, and people can see beyond the borders of their own particular organisation and think, no, this is bigger than us. You know, we need to get behind this. So it's great that so many organisations are working together on this. Now, for people listening at the moment in West Herts, what can they do? I mean, for example, is there actually a focus date for this for living for 5 days on £1 a day? Are we supposed to do this at a particular time, or how does it all work?
Yeah, the official challenge, it launches in May. It's from the 7th to 11th of May, but you can do this any time because there's no really fixed date. You can do it for 5 days any time up to here. Like if you do it earlier, it's even great because then it's a way of bringing up conversation with other people. Like when you're doing this, and you're probably going to encourage more people to take part. Then by the time we come to May.
Right, and this is something that people have to pay to take part in, or do they get sponsorship for?
No, you don't pay to take part in it. Basically, you have a £1 budget to live on a day, though you can do this as £5 for your 5 days, and you get people to sponsor you for your efforts, and you pick a charity or an organisation that you want to fundraise for. And I'm fundraising for Results UK, which is an anti-poverty and advocacy charity whose mission is to create a public and political will to end poverty. But there's so many other amazing organisations that you can fundraise for, and they all do such amazing work.
Right, okay. And if people want to find out more about this and get involved, and perhaps they want to participate themselves, what can they do?
You can go on the website. It's www.livebelowtheline.com/UK.
And all the details are on there,
All the details are on there, all the different charities. It's got information about sort of the rules, and there's loads of other different ways that you can get involved, because I know the idea for a lot of people to do £1 a day for 5 days sounds quite horrifying, actually. But if you don't think you can do it for 5 days, you can do a light version where you can do it for 3 days, or you don't even necessarily have to take part in the challenge if you have health issues that might stop you. There's ways of supporting the campaign. Sponsor someone, a friend, a colleague who's doing it. You can do sort of a dinner, which you cook a meal for all of your friends, which costs £1, sort of to show them how far £1 really goes, or how far it doesn't go. And you can get them to give a donation to the host, or pay what they would regularly pay for a meal out, and that's a brilliant way of raising funds. And it's a conversation starter, and that's one of the most amazing things about it, is that it's so easy to raise awareness on it, because everyone is so interested to hear about it if you mention it.
Sure, and of course, given that this is going to change your diet for 5 days, I suppose if you've got any medical concerns at all, you should check with a professional first before you embark on such a thing.
Absolutely, if you've got
now, so no one sues me. But yeah,
no. Yeah, we advise if you've got any sort of medical issues like diabetes, for instance, maybe it's not the best thing to take part in the challenge this way. But speak to your GP is the best advice. But there's so many other ways that you can get involved in it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good on you for doing this. It sounds like a great initiative, and thank you as well for coming on air this afternoon, Sabrina, and telling us all about it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
That's all right. It's a pleasure. What we'll do as well is we will link to our blog. We'll link the website from our blog. So westhartsdrivetime.radioverulam.com. We'll have the details of the initiative and the link to the website and the other bits and pieces that you've told us. And we wish you every success with this. And,
okay, thank you so much.
That's right. Perhaps you might come back on at some point. Maybe come into the studio and tell us maybe a bit nearer the time or after the event how well it went and things like that. It's something we'd be interested to know about here.
Yeah, I'll come back any time that you'd love to have me.
Well, there you go then. We're taking it now. That's legal, all right? That's all fine. That's going to happen. Okay. Well, in the meantime, Sabrina, thank you very much for joining us here on West Herts Drive Time.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Radio Verulam Community Partners.